Alright, what is going on, guys? Crypto Mac here, bringing you another crypto video. Today we're going to take a look at Sandbox and do a update video on Sand. Obviously performing pretty well the past kind of week. Basically the past like 5 days. You can see pretty solid move. Trading at $6.50 is good to see, and as we can see the all-time high is at $8.50. So Sand is not too far off that, and it's well within reach, especially for a coin performing the way like this coin has been performing. We can see it can make massive moves, and so even we got a taste of that the past few days. These significantly large candles, right? 28% move to up here has been a 40% move, a pretty solid uptrend for Sand. So very good to see. Just want to say this video is not financial advice, so please do your own research. We can see on the short term, Sand is more so forming these bull flags. And if you've been watching my previous Sandbox videos, basically since I started doing videos on it, bull flags are a recurring theme. We've talked about it extensively. There was a massive continuation of bull flags, just massive bullishness effectively for this coin. We saw a 10x. If we take it from the bottom, there was a massive, pretty much 10x move. And then if you took it from this triangle, there was a 250% move with no major correction until we finally saw one. So Sam went extremely parabolic, and then eventually we saw 50% pullback. We kind of trended between this 35% and 45% region, which is always good. After having a good move, you expect a large pullback, which we saw, and also a bit of an accumulation period. Because the coin is, well, Sam was definitely overbought around that period, and so it needed a big correction and consolidation period, which we saw was in this descending channel here, and now we've broken out of that, which is good to see. Just as Bitcoin broke out of its falling wedge, and just as a lot of other coins are starting to break out of their descending channels or falling wedges, almost any coin I do a video on seem to have been in one and now have broken out. So that's very bullish, and we can see now forming a bull flag. So we saw this first bull flag here, and then nice move here, another move up, and then you could argue, well, what's this pattern here? Another falling wedge, right? You could say that's another falling wedge, and then we can get another move up from here. It is just speculation, but like we've seen it before, so that we could see it again. I'll just move this up from that breakout. And target's around $7.50. So what we can see with that is that the resistance line tends to be in line, is in line with this local top, and the last resistance line, depending on where you draw, because there's a few wicks here, there was resistance here along this previous local top as well. So you can see some resistance lines, a few trends, I guess. But as I said, there's another potential bull flag forming, and if we see a breakout, the target is $7.50, which is pretty good. And it would be nice to see Sand there. If Sand goes from $6.50 to $7.50, well, then it might go from $7.50 to $8.50, aka all-time high. Pretty optimistic view. Take it with a grain of salt, I would say. But that'd be good to see. Once we get to $8.50, but then we can see it moves higher. You know, $9, $10. Break $10 would be pretty significant, just because a milestone to break into $10, and then it could even trend higher, right? I'm extremely bullish on Sand. I think it's such a good coin. Obviously, there's so much attention to it right now, and it's been performing well, and I feel like it's going to continue to perform well in 2022 for sure. The only thing to look at is Fibonacci retracement, and we can see resistance on that 618 line, the 0.618 line, pretty important. That's usually what you see. There's also resistance here, as we spoke about, so it makes sense to get rejected off this line, come down, move higher. We also got rejected on the 0.5 line, so you can see we had the breakout, we went up, got rejected on this 0.5 line, right? Formed the bull flag, formed that descending channel, and then we came down, got support of the lower line, trended up again. Saw resistance, come down, so we might come down even further to like the $6.30 line. Around we could come lower, and so maybe I'd draw this line more so like this. That's something to look at. We could come down, test support here, and then move up from there. And then we might go to the next line, which would be up here at $7.50, right? as I just spoke about, that was a target. So that could be our next target, just inching our way up with bull flags. Is something that we might see for sand. Just one of the possibilities. Another thing to look at is the falling wedge that sand was in, which you can see right here, and the target taken from the confirmation of the breakout down here. Well, lines up perfectly with where we're at currently. Hence, it somewhat makes sense. There's resistance here. Would indicate that we've hit that price target, which is pretty good. If you want to say that's what happened, it seems like it has from this falling wedge, but it was a bit. Usually you break out and would like to trend higher, but we broke out of this wedge, just moved sideways, and then we moved higher. But nonetheless, we have hit that target. The other thing to look at, it's more of pretty big speculation. It's more of like a bit more long term view, is that we could be performing a cup and handle. A trend like this, so we can see the cup is starting to form. Right, and so it would be realistic that we see resistance around this $8 to $8.50 range. Somewhere, I'll put it, I could draw 2 lines and we can leave it there and see what happens. Around this period here might be where we find ourselves in and see resistance along the line. It could be around here, the early January. It could even happen before January. If I'm being honest, a move like this would not be overly unrealistic, to be honest. And that would be New Year's Eve. We could even have a sharper move, or we could come back down or whatever. Or we could just have a slower move. Like, no one really knows, but there's a chance that we do that move back up here before New Year's. And then we'll see some resistance most likely. And then we might come down, form that handle, and then move up. And then we could really look at like big highs, big moves for sand as well. If we can get above this, you know, we could start looking for a $12 sand. That's nearly a 2x from where we're at the moment. Pretty big speculation and something that may or may not take place, but something I'm looking at. I think there's potential. Cup and handles are pretty regular trends we see in a lot of coins, and obviously trying to break through the all-time high level. There's going to be resistance there, so it's likely that, you know, we see resistance come back down before testing it again, and then we'll try and break it, as opposed to just going up and just, you know, breaking through the all-time high. Like, that usually doesn't happen unless there's mass volume coming in. Another thing to look at is Sand Bitcoin. Not a lot happening. Again, it follows a very similar trend to Sand USD, forming these bull flags as well, which is bullish. I mean, it's good to see Sand performing well against Bitcoin. Also, cup and handle seems to be forming. We're actually a lot closer on this chart. If we took it from the candle, we almost got there, or you could argue we did get there, if you really wanted to. And so now we're forming this sort of falling wedge. Is the handle forming? Maybe, you know, that might be what you could argue. As for Bitcoin, trading at 50,800, pretty good. Just broke out of this small falling wedge, which it's on a very short time frame, and so I'm not overly convinced. I'm not saying this is a major breakout, but on the short term, it's good. It's good signs. I was much more pleased and confident with this larger falling wedge breakout, of which we hit the target pretty well. So that's always good to see. That's about all I've got to say for Sand. Other than that, I'm extremely bullish on Sand. I think it's going to have a great 2022. I think the NFT space is continuing to grow, and Sand will just continue to move up as well. That's my speculative guess, you might say. Please give the video a like, guys. Subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate all the support. Leave a comment and let me know what you think of Sand, the market, what you think will happen in 2022. I'm always interested to see everyone's opinions and thoughts. One thing, just lastly, I'm just looking at is, you could say there was this downtrend here that we just broke out of as well. It's pretty hard with these wicks to really show where they are, but you could argue that we just broke out of this downtrend and we're now moving higher. Just another thing to look at, and you could draw another line to go along with that, like this. Say, well, this is the descending channel on a larger time frame that it was in. We're just breaking out of that, and this could be the move, the move to start a massive move for Sand. So, as I said, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch you later.